Good evening, Gotham City tonight. Hello, happy Friday. We always said this was a Wednesday show, and I knew occasionally that would shift, but it seems like we're doing this more often than not on Friday nights now. So this week is a little bit of a weird one because it's just me. Thankfully, Ryan set everything up for me, so I'm ready to go for the night, but that does mean I don't have him and his knowledge to lean on. So you guys are stuck with my opinion tonight, which could be good or bad. And originally, I was actually really, really excited for tonight. I was excited to talk about comics. I feel like, we really intended this to be a multimedia platform. And there has just been so much information regarding the DC, cinematic universe. We've been focusing on that. So originally, my plan for this evening was to do a comics roundup because some crazy stuff is happening in the comics right now with Batman specifically. And then the Henry Cavill news dropped. So now, naturally, we are obligated to address that. So let's say hi to the chat real quick. Ryan would be so proud of me. Flash739, good evening. Hello, Mustache Mayhem. Hey, how is it going? Yes, Ryan is out in the Canadian wild like Wolverine. Ryan might be Wolverine. I will not confirm or deny that here on the show. Justin Tongue, hey, hi. It's just me tonight. But I'm really, really excited that you guys are all here. So, let's dive into the big news that I'm sure we have all seen at this point, which is that Henry Cavill is no longer Superman. And I just have to say right off the bat, whatever you think about good or bad, about Henry Cavill, Snyderverse, anything else, can we just say that for Henry Cavill, as a human, as an actor, as someone who does this for a living and is working in this profession, getting the green light from the studio to make this massive announcement, pulling out of projects like The Witcher, only to have it ripped out from back under him, that sucks, man. That sucks a lot. Smoked Ham, hi, hello. Derpy50 first. You're hoping for that reboot for the DC universe. I think we all are. Stanley's Toy Channel, hello. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up some of these major announcements because we have James Gunn, and can I just say, whatever, normally when I have Ryan here, I just feel like I can spout my opinion, and if he disagrees, you get the agreement or the disagreement from him. Now I feel like there is no filter. I just say what I'm gonna say, and no one can stop me. And it's a lot of power. I'm kind of feeling, though, with great power comes great responsibility tonight. Without my boy here to keep me in line. But before we get into the announcements themselves, I just kind of want to talk about, just like we kind of addressed Henry Cavill as a human being and as a person, I really want to also address James Gunn as a human and a person and say that I actually do have a lot of respect for the way he has made himself kind of the bullet shield for this entire situation. Most of the times you see these studio heads making these choices, and you don't really get explanations. You don't get communication. You just get scapegoats. You get rumors. You get this, that, and the other. And James Gunn has been strangely but refreshingly passionate about actually addressing these rumors and being very blunt and outright about what they do know, what they don't know, what's real and what isn't, and what they're kind of planning for the future of this. And I think he's realized that the media landscape has just changed over the years. It just isn't what it used to be. You can't keep these things close to the chest and have these big surprising announcements and have it be exciting and fun. If you let the media shitstorm grow and fester, you could put out a perfect movie and it will still be tainted. And I really think James Gunn is kind of switching the field on hey, there's a fan base out there that wants answers. Instead of pretending we are this all-knowing, all-powerful studio that makes every right choice, we got to just let them know what's going on. And I do respect that very, very much. Flash739, has The Rock commented on this news? Not that I have seen. If any of you have seen The Rock commenting on it, please let me know. I would love to see it. I have not seen that yet. Steven, hey y'all, that's my husband on this side of the screen. He's with my baby. I heard he got The Witcher back. Is this true? Not that I have seen. And I don't believe he has made a formal announcement about that either. Again, if you have seen an official announcement, please let me know. But as you saw from Ryan and I talking on this channel before, we really try, we'll definitely address rumors, but we try not to perpetuate them as fact until we know they've come from a reliable source. You bet that The Rock is pissed. I mean, and we'll get into that in a moment, but yeah, Henry Cavill was brought back for a few other things. There were just some groundwork things that were laid down that kind of, it undoes all of it to take Henry Cavill out as Superman. Like, this announcement is about a lot more than just Superman. Gotham Stalker, hey, how's it going? Jeremy Kulo, you saw the 1978 Superman film in theater, so you're used to change. You say, bring on the new Man of Tomorrow. Yeah, like the Flash movie that's still coming out, as far as we know. And you saw Cavill signed on to a Warhammer series on Amazon Prime. Very cool. I'm sure that makes him happy, honestly. He's such a nerd. Not on Witcher. Trying to make the deal for Warhammer 40K. All right. So obviously, I mean, it's Henry Cavill. He's not going to be out of work. But, you know, Superman is a big thing. So let's address what has actually been said, what's been confirmed between Henry Cavill and James Gunn specifically. And then we can kind of get into what this all means. James Gunn has come out and said they will not be moving forward with Henry Cavill as Superman because they specifically would like to do they are rebooting Superman. They said they want to do a younger Superman. And it looks like James Gunn himself is working on writing it. However, he will not be directing it. And they have not made any sort of announcements as to who the new Superman will be. And this is where I get torn. Because again, as a human, as an actor, I love Henry Cavill. I love Henry Cavill's Superman. I feel like we never got the full extent of Henry Cavill's Superman that we as a fan base deserved because he kept getting terrible Superman writing. But I actually really love the idea of resetting because it is, again, it's hard to kind of save that universe and just going back to a young Supes because a young Supes can give us more hope. It can give us that lighthearted feeling. You know, not that old Supes shouldn't also be hopeful, but it's a lot easier to do it narratively. You know, with he's young, he's new, he's fresh. He ties in a lot better with the Batman and Battinson because a young Supes, you know, Henry Cavill next to Battinson is a little like, okay, where were you? You know, and then young Supes next to Batflick is a whole other conversation. So we get a real chance at a world's finest that Ryan and I have been talking about forever with a younger Supes, you know, with a Robert Pattinson Batman. So that's, I feel guilty for how excited I am about young Batman or young Superman. I really, really do, but I am. I'm excited about it. Henry Cavill, of course, then made his announcement, really reiterating that he had the green light from the studio to make his Superman announcement. And I don't doubt that even a little bit. Everyone knew how popular he was. He was one of the kind of like the saving graces of that whole DC era. It was not Superman written or Superman solo movies, but just Henry Cavill specifically in that role. So here is where I think they made the unfortunate correct choice. Because Ryan and I talked on here about how much we love Henry Cavill's Superman, but how much we hate the way they handled Jimmy Olsen, how much we did not like the casting and performance of Lois Lane. You know, how some of the things about the way they handled Superman's story were off or wrong to us. And it is difficult when you're trying to create this cohesive universe to cherry pick, to take Henry Cavill and leave these other things behind. Not impossible if they really wanted to, but definitely more difficult, and they have decided we are wiping the slate clean. And I think a big part of that is also wiping the slate clean of specifically the Snyderverse. And someone gets mad every time we say it, but whether you love or hate the Snyderverse, it's a hard thing to cherry pick from. Just like it would be really hard to cherry pick from the MCU the way it stands right now. If they kept Henry Cavill, they would never hear the end of, but is this the Snyderverse? Restore the Snyderverse, bring back the Snyderverse. So I think they really just need everyone to know, stop. That's not coming back. Set expectations for something better. Mustache Mayhem, you didn't get the full Justice League either, sadly. Yes, we didn't get a cyborg origin story. We didn't get a lot of things. Henry Cavill for Wolverine. Okay, Flash 739. I'm going to speak for Ryan on this one. I will almost never do this, but this is one where I am confident I can let you know what Ryan would say in this moment. And it's that he wants a shorter Wolverine, that Henry Cavill is too tall for Ryan to want Henry Cavill as Wolverine. And otherwise, I would like to see Henry Cavill as literally anything ever that sparks joy for him. I just want good things for Henry Cavill. But Ryan would say Henry Cavill is too tall. He wants his short Canadian king. And you know what? I want it for Ryan. I want it for him too. Really don't care for Snyder's Flash even before the whole Ezra Miller problems. Yeah, I could have fun with Snyder's Flash in the context of everything else, but it was definitely unique. They can hobbitize Henry Cavill. I know. Like I said, I'm speaking for Ryan on this one. Like, we just, short king representation. Get us a short actor who can pull it off, who is the actor we deserve for Wolverine. But yeah, so now that we've kind of addressed what they have said about this, and of course Henry Cavill expressed a lot of negative feelings in regards to this announcement and it being taken from him again. He was definitely geared up to play this role. What does this mean story-wise? We talked about it a little bit, being the end of the Snyderverse, about possibly tying it with Pattinson and being a world's finest. But, while we're talking about The Flash, what does this mean for Flash and Aquaman? Because these are movies that, as of this moment, anything can happen. But as of this moment, are still being released. Flash just got a new bumped up release date for next year, which now I'm kind of thinking they might have done that to just get the movie over with. Aquaman, we already know that Jason Momoa isn't coming back as Aquaman, so that's kind of like the end of that. So someone else was saying, what was the point of these movies? And I kind of get where they're coming from, but I am also coming from a place as an elder person. And I feel like a lot of you in the chat, and Ryan, if he were here, could talk about remembering the days when movies just didn't tie into each other unless they were direct sequels. Like, this is really a new modern phenomenon, which has been incredible and also detrimental in so many different ways. And so for someone like me, growing up in the era of movies that I did, I can still go to the theater, maybe not for The Flash, but for Aquaman, and appreciate it for what it is. A movie that exists and tells its story, and then it's done, and then it's over, and you put it away, and that is that, and they did that, And I feel like a lot of people have almost lost that, where everything has to be tied in. So, if this greater universe reset means you lost interest in those two movies, who am I to judge? That's up to you. But I definitely just kind of take this as okay, enjoy them the way movies were kind of originally intended to be watched. And so be it. Rebirth, not new in DC Comics. Yeah. DC Comics doing a reset, resetting their universe, doing a rebirth, doing a new 52, doing something. Never. Not my DC Comics. They would never do that. I honestly feel like Mustache Mayhem says that DC needs to just take a breath and chill for a bit. dump Flash, Aquaman 2, whatever else they have in the works, start fresh in 2024. And I think that's exactly what they're doing. I think that that is exactly what their intention was with saying sorry to Henry Cavill, because I really do believe that that decision did not come easy. I really do believe and want to believe that they did not make that decision lightly, especially knowing the press chaos it was going to be and knowing how it would affect him again as a human. Yeah, I really, really think that this was this feels like the hard but necessary sacrifice in the chess game, right? This is like sacrificing your queen so that you can win the game. This was hard, it was hard. It sucks for Henry, and I'll never not say that. And I'll always love Henry Cavill as Superman. But I do get it. That's the problem, is I look at this decision and I'm not sitting here like, I can't think of any reason why they would do this. How could they? Well, I get it. And that's the hard part. It really is. Mustache Mayhem. When I don't get a break in between talking, my words start getting all jumbled. Ryan, come back. Mustache Mayhem. I am all for that. They don't need to connect. However, the overall DC brand is hurting at the box office, and it bums me out. Mustache Mayhem. I feel you. I do. Ryan and I have talked before, for me growing up, Marvel really was not super on my radar until the Marvel movies. Like, I did dabble a bit. Like, I've always loved Captain America, and a couple other things. But I've really been a DC girl my whole life. So it does hurt me too, seeing these characters that I love. I mean, especially when we talk DC, like Justice League, Superman and Wonder Woman, and the Bat family around Batman, have been my passions for a very long time. So it hurts me too. And I get it. The reset's going to be important. Oh, it just, yeah. There's so many, and that's things, there's so many feelings. And I feel like James Gunn, based on what he has said, again, on Twitter and the conversations he's having, I feel like James Gunn appreciates the love of DC, of the Trinity, of the Justice League, and what it actually means to a fan base, to these generations of people, they're so iconic. They're so iconic. And I really do feel like James Gunn appreciates that. So I am excited to see what he does. I am. And I feel bad for the incredible actors who got cast in the wrong wave of DC films. I do. I feel bad that they were the test subjects. Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Henry Cavill. I feel really bad that they were DC pushing to become Marvel, doing it quickly and doing it badly. And they were the casualties of those choices. And I think that is wildly unfortunate. I think James Gunn sees that too. I really, really do. A fresh news tweeted like 3 years ago, before Wonder Woman 1984. And here's the thing. If you had told me before Wonder Woman 1984 came out that DC needed a restart, I would have been like, no. Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot and the studio and their Wonder Woman they're gonna bring it back. They've had so many good moments. The casting is great. Henry Cavill is great. Ben Affleck's great. Wonder Woman 1 was great. Let them play it out. Let's see how this plays out. And I would have been wrong. I would have been very, very wrong. But if I'd never gotten that Wonder Woman sequel, I would have always mourned not getting that Wonder Woman sequel, because I would never have believed that a Patty Jenkins, Gal Gadot Wonder Woman sequel could have gone that badly. I always felt like it was never going to be as good as the first one, but I would have never guessed, and I will fully admit I would have been wrong. I would have never guessed it would have gone as bad as 1984 did. That was real rough. Jeremy, you're still going to watch all 4 upcoming DC films. As a lot of people worked hard to bring us those stories. Yes. As you guys know, I have worked, not in film, but I've, worked in performing in the arts. And Ryan, who, this should be a drinking game. Drink every time I say Ryan's name. Ryan, works in film, actually, doing much bigger and cooler and more important things than I have ever done in my career and will ever do. But we are firm believers that these movies are a lot more than just their headlining actors. They absolutely are 110%. And there's a lot of love and dedication that goes into them from people whose faces you'll never see and names you may never remember. And it matters. And their contribution to the show and to these movies and to this universe matters. So if you like feel passionate about going out and supporting those films, do it 100%. Safe to say The Suicide Squad is the new official reboot of the DC movies. I don't know. Because I mean, they've, with the Joker sequel, they're playing around with a different Harley Quinn casting, which again, I still support, even if it's its own thing. But I think James Gunn is going to do the hard reset. I really do. And Jeremy, you're coming in to say what I was thinking, actually. You think Gunn is going to tie up the stories of his Suicide Squad characters in Peacemaker Season 2 next year, and that will be that. I agree. I do. And I think it's unfortunate. But because, again, there are things about the Suicide Squad that I want to reset. Their Cassandra Cain sucked. Not the casting. This is not a stab at the actress that played her. But the characterization sucked. And then because then you get into nitpicking again. Okay, so are we keeping Margot Robbie and just like rewriting? Are we just pretending we didn't do that? Are we changing this character's backstory? What are we fixing? What are we getting rid of? What are we changing? I just think James Gunn is being realistic in that he knows that nitpicking is too much risk for too little reward instead of just starting over. Because Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, when you think about her specifically, does not fit with Pattinson and a new young Superman. Just doesn't line up, doesn't add up. James Gunn can't nitpick. If he could nitpick, we would have Henry Cavill. I really think we're getting that fresh start. I do. Ryan Reynolds, Green Lantern. That's what we're missing. That's the missing piece. Oops, we just talked about that. John Yerkeba, hello. 100% agree to all this. Sucks that it's happened to both Ruth and Cavill now. Routh, forgive me. But hopefully this next go round and whoever wears the cape next can really knock it out of the park. Give me a good Superman movie. I will even take a halfway decent Superman casting as long as the writing is good. Please write me a well-written Superman. I am on my hands and knees begging James Gunn for this. James Gunn writing the first DCU film, and Superman supposed to be focusing on young Clark Kent as a reporter, which gives you vibes for 78 and Max Fleischer. I want that so bad because with Batman and Bruce Wayne, like Batman is the interesting part. Batman is who he is. Batman is the drama and the grit and the blah, blah, blah. And Bruce Wayne is the alter ego in a lot of ways. And Superman is always meant to be the opposite. It's Clark Kent who is human and real and interesting and passionate and clumsy and trying really freaking hard to be this thing that is Superman. And Superman is this facade. Superman is this image that he wants the world to see, but Clark Kent is Clark. So I think resetting and taking him young allows them to focus more on Clark in a lot of ways that's really wonderful. And I just hope we get that. Fingers crossed WB doesn't change again. No kidding. I really want to see what James Gunn is going to do, and I want to see some follow through on something good at DC. A version with modern technology for Superman is really cool. Like, how are we going to explain facial recognition software? Like, it made sense before. No one got like a good photo of Superman's face, or no one had pictures of Clark Kent's face, but times are changing. John says that you think Blue Beetle will be the first DC film of the new universe. Thank you for bringing that up. How have I not talked about the Blue Beetle movie yet tonight? It seems like it'll be detached enough. It'll almost be like a soft intro into the new DCU. Yes, and yes. John, yes. All of that, yes. Because it would be truly devastating to introduce Blue Beetle, Jaime Reyes, again, a hero of color, because it does matter. Let's not pretend it doesn't. And not to mention the Blue Beetle costume design I'm obsessed with it. To just introduce him and then waste him, especially when the Blue Beetle movie looks like it's going to be good. So I think Blue Beetle being this kind of new soft reset which means it can't include Cavill. It can't include the last generation of Justice League. But I love the idea of Blue Beetle being this first reset. It'd be funny if Cavill comes back as an old Bruce Wayne. Oh my goodness, could you imagine? Not to plug another podcast. Nah, go for it. Stealing Superman is great and makes you want an Action Comics movie. I would have to check that out because I will be honest, I don't know what that is, but it sounds awesome. Check out Stealing Superman, probably. Unless it's awful, then I didn't say that. The thing you like most about the little that's been said so far, it's all been character focused. Nothing grandiose or overwrought. Young Clark working at Planet, meeting Lois. Yes. They're not committing to, and Zod will be there, and we're going to have Darkseid on day one. And you're going to see 5,000 cameos for the next 10 movies we'll be introducing in the next 6 months. It was just like, hey, we just want to meet Clark. We want to meet Clark Kent. We want to start his story. And that just leaves you with so much to go. And I love it. It makes my heart happy. It makes my heart really happy. I just love Clark Kent. I love him. Metropolis tonight. Jeremy, Gunn has denied stories. Oh, well, thank you for actually pointing this out because I did not know this. Gunn has denied stories that Pattinson's Batman will be incorporated into the DCU, so we may be getting another new Batman as well. That's a little disappointing for me, I'm not going to lie, but I also wonder when he said that, because before the reset, when they thought they were still working with Cavill, I think is the last I heard of them saying something like that, which would have made sense then. I feel like if it was said before, that could have changed with the new announcements and the new reset. And again, I could be wrong, but I feel like it would be a waste to have someone so good as Pattinson and such a good Batman existing and continuing with sequels, and then have like another Batman who's going to need another solo movie, an introduction movie. I think that again just gets them into all these crossed lines, that the reason they're not using Henry Cavill is to avoid those cross lines to begin with. So I think for that reason, I can see them using this reset to change that decision as well. Because I think, again, that decision made more sense when there was a Snyderverse Battinson conflict. But if we're completely eliminating Snyderverse and resetting, I think that decision can change. I do. It is a true crime podcast about someone stealing Nick Cage's action. Huh. It's actually very interesting. I am super into that. Action Comics #1. Wow. Yeah. No, that sounds really cool. I love true crime. I watch way too much of it. Definitely not a serial killer, I swear. John, you also think it'd be great if this starting at year 2 thing, it sounds like they're doing with Superman, applies across the DCU. Jump into a Batman meeting Dick already with a Robin. Y'all, team, fam, everyone out there in the universe, you know how Ryan and I feel about getting a live action Dick Grayson Robin. And I'm going to say it again. I want Pattinson to have, I want emo little Pattinson to have his peppy little Robin and that universe. And I want that Jim Gordon from the Pattinson universe to look at Pattinson like he's lost his damn mind when he brings in his brightly colored little Robin. I want that more than anything in the world. I really do. Please give it to us. It just would be so funny. But of course, I'm not James Gunn. And again, he's only in my DM sometimes, not all the times, telling me his choices and updates. That doesn't mean it is set in stone. Anything can happen. Oh, here we go. The Pattinson denial was from 12/14. Okay, so it was when he was doing all of his, and Matt Reeves agreed, when he was answering all his questions. Okay, so that definitely, thank you for informing me. I appreciate that. That is a little bit of a bummer to me because I would love a Pattinson World's Finest. I just think the universe opens up for it so well. But, and And here's the other thing, is I just feel like you can only get Batman right so many times in so many ways. And my fear is with them introducing yet another Batman. Again, it's kind of weird to have, because we already know Pattinson's getting a sequel. So it is a little weird having two live action Batmans going at the same time, especially when one of them isn't a standalone movie like the Joker was. Having a different Harley for that made sense because it was just like this individual character exploration, which the Batman could have been, but now that it's getting sequels, it feels like more. So it would be interesting to see another Batman in the Superman story. So that tells me either A, they're not looking at crossing over Superman and Batman, which would be ridiculous. They have to be. Or they really are committing to a different Batman that exists only as a side character in Superman's universe. Because I can't see them doing another solo origin for another Batman while Pattinson's movies are going. That doesn't make sense either. Yeah. I hope they take that back and cross over Pattinson with new young Supes. I really do. I'm going to say it. But again, I'm not included in those decisions or in the bigger picture. Oz Ostradamus Toys, hello. That's okay. I was late today as well, so I can't judge you. A proper Jonah Hex show. DC, yes, hello. This is a perfect opportunity to bypass Darker Year One and get straight into the building the family era. DC, John said it here first. Let's go. Maybe we'll get some more DCU proper comic booky Batman, while Battison will stay Black Label. I mean, I felt like, young comic booky Batman. No, you're right. I guess he's a little more emo than comic booky Batman. Even young has a bit more fire to him. He really, really does. No, you're right. I was about to argue, but I take it back. DC is the benefit of multiple Earths. At least most fans know that. They do, and they can. But again, at this point, it just sort of feels like, oversaturating the theaters. People are going to pick which Batman they like more and then stop going to see the other one. Especially when, why are you making two Batman movies, with, let's be honest, mostly two white men, when you could be making a different movie with a female lead or a person of color lead or a woman of color lead. Incredible. That would be so wild. Imagine that. And speaking of, though, new Superman, young Superman, and I talked to Ryan about this a little bit, so I know he can't get mad at me for bringing it up here because he is in support. Person of color Superman. Martha and Thomas Kent adopted him. He can be anything. He's a literal alien. Why he got to look like a white man? Because especially, I feel like modern Superman, they really have been, they changed, it was John Kent that changed it, but they changed his slogan, it doesn't say the American way anymore, not that American is ever supposed to look white anyway. And why do we have to have white Superman with this new one? I think it is a really fantastic opportunity to play with that with casting. And I'm not sure that they will, because I think that they need Superman to finally be successful. And I'm not sure that they're willing to take that risk at this point, even though we've proved time and time again that POC and women-led films can still be successful if you just do them right. But I think that this would have been a fantastic opportunity. I really, really do. Isn't Pattinson movie supposed to be a trilogy so it can be over by the time they get into the Bat part of the new DCU? Okay, sorry, that expression was not for you. That expression was me doing mental math. So let's say it's 2025-ish until we get the new Pattinson movie. So that'd be the second one. So then we're looking at 2028 for the third one. But so that means we're not looking at a Batman that can cross over with this Superman until 2030. That is 8 years from now. And so this will not be a young startup Supes anymore. And that is specifically what I want to see. I want world's finest. I want World's Finest so bad. Let them be friends. Ugh. Idris Elba Batman? Yes. But if we're having young Clark, Michael B. Jordan Superman. You guys, there's so much potential. There is so much opportunity. Lois Lane could be a woman of color. Give me Asian Lois Lane. She's looking Asian in the new animated series coming out. Give me that. Give us the new animated series. I believe it's Asian Lois Lane, and I literally said his name earlier in this show. This is what happens when only I am talking to for an hour straight. Jimmy Olsen, Black Jimmy Olsen. Even if they don't change Superman, they could lean into that. Latino Lois Lane. Let's mix it up. Let's add some color to this cast. We can't be playing catch up. Marvel had an extremely white first run for their Avengers movies, and they have been playing catch up with representation ever since. DC is in the position to just have that representation with their big three from the get-go. Because let's be honest, this probably means a Wonder Woman reset, which getting a new Wonder Woman when she was done so right the first time hurts a little bit. Because that original Wonder Woman movie, I still go back and I still love it. But they did make a mistake where they took some of her most iconic supporting cast, and because they went with the time skip thing, eliminated them all in the first movie. Which, if it was a standalone movie, was fantastic. But again, as a bigger universe to build on, doesn't leave you with a lot of places to go. So we could see a reset there. Even though, everyone's kind of making these hint announcements, they're coming back, everything's changing. Awesome. Jon Stewart, Green Lantern. Yes, please. Pattinson's trilogy being about him getting to the point where at the end he's ready for Robin, whereas the new DCU Batman already having ones was two different eras explored. I mean, they're going to have to do something to make those Batman real different if there's two live action cinematic, not even TV and movie, two movie big screen Batmans going on at the same time. They're going to have to figure out something. They definitely are. Gunn tweeting out a pic of Mr. Terrific is very promising. You are absolutely right. I feel like James Gunn has a vision. I feel like as of right now, I am willing to trust that vision until proven otherwise. I really am. I really, really am. And I hate to say it, but at this point for Wonder Woman's story, I want to reset on her too, if we're going to be fair. I want a Trinity. I want a good Trinity movie. And Ryan will talk about, and I'm going to not speak for him again, but share a little bit of like what he shared with me back when he was working on Batman versus Superman, because I know he's openly talked about that. And that scene where you have the battle at the end and Wonder Woman has joined them. And I get chills just thinking about it. That moment where we had Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman live action. I'm literally going to cry on the big screen for the first time ever. Full stop. And that was an incredible moment. I remember when I was going with that, I've got so many chills again. But yeah, now I remember. But it kind of stopped there. They had this incredible moment, this incredible final battle, the music, the lines, she with you, I thought she was with you, her intro music, the shot of all of them standing together was great. But as Ryan has pointed out, this is going to be the shot. This is the shot of the Trinity, and Batman's holding like a gun in it. And it's just interesting. So I want a proper Justice League. I want a proper Trinity. I want to see their interactions as people. I want that so badly, that Diana Clark Bruce dynamic that we've gotten so many times in comics and animation. That is the reason I love DC. It really is the Trinity and their relationships with each other and the way they support each other, the way they kind of complete each other as heroes, as friends, as the ideal as a team. And we haven't gotten that in live action the way I would like. So I am very, very eager for that. Kristen Wiig was amazing as Cheetah. Should have had her own movie. I mean, whether it's Kristen Wiig or not, I do think she did great. But like, Cheetah is Wonder Woman's. That's her Joker. That's her Lex Luthor. So for her to be a supporting villain in someone else's, villain story, you don't just throw in Cheetah. You commit to Cheetah. And again, that really felt like them saying, oh, well, we can't have a female villain be the lead. Like, excuse me? Sit down. Gotham Stalkers is in another review channel. They mentioned Bruce Batman just being like an MCU Phase 1 Nick Fury type character. Cameos and references instead of having his own solo film right away. That is a really, really good summation of how they kind of used Batfleck. It really is. Yeah, the way he just kind of like was bringing the Justice League together. Or you're saying that as a theory for the next one. I actually feel like that almost kind of sums up how they tried to use him in the Snyderverse, quite frankly, with more of a hero role for sure. But yeah, they could also do that kind of in the reset. John Yerkeba, I want that we trust each other implicitly as colleagues and as friends / family. And we didn't need to almost kill each other to get their vibe from the jump, especially with the Trinity. Can I say world's finest enough times? Drink when I say Ryan, also drink when I say world's finest. Maybe drink when I say Ryan and shot when I say world's finest. I take no responsibility for how you handle drinking while watching this stream. I know they can have a little bit of like uneasiness, a little bit of like, I need to get to know you. I am unsure. I have questions, which is fair. But yeah, we don't need to do the enemies, the whole, the attempted murder doesn't need to be there. We just don't need it. We've done it. We've seen it. Do you bleed? We get it. Been there. Been down that road. Give me friends. Give me the super friends. The old plan for Keaton. Yeah, when they kind of were trying to do things with Keaton and throwing him in after the multiverse. There's been a lot. There has been a lot. I want to be puke drunk from saying world's finest. It needs to be said that many times. The people must know. The people must know. No, but for real. But like for real. But for real. I'm just saying. No drinking. You are at work. That is fair. That is fair. I did not tell you to drink at work. Rewatch this later and then do it when you get home. But honestly, I want world's finest. I want everything. I want it all. Okay, guys, we are 45 minutes into the stream. I do so badly. I just want to talk about the comics so bad. So I'm going to do it anyway. Sorry, Ryan. I'm going to change gears really hard just to be able to even mention while all of this is going on in the craziness of the Twitter sphere and the cinematic world, Bruce Wayne is dead again. Not like, not like Death of Superman dead, but, Bruce Wayne, Batman, has been zapped away to nothingness for the nth time. I have no doubt we will be finding a way to bring him back soon. But what I am now excited for what this means for Bruce's Robins. Is Tim Drake going to stop being Robin and step up into a new adult thing that is not Red Robin? Is Tim Drake going to become Batman? Is Dick coming back as Batman? Doubt it because of Tom Taylor's Nightwing run. continuing full steam. But what about Damian Wayne? Well, I mean, Tim is like this big in the Batman run right now because he's an eternal boy child. He's the Peter Pan of the Bat universe. He will never grow up. So I don't think they can physically put him in a Batman suit and do anything with it. But is Tim gonna become like Batboy or Red Other Bird that isn't Robin? I don't know. I don't have strong feelings about what Tim is as long as he stops being Robin. And then meanwhile, have Damian actually come back and be Robin again. Who knows? But I have also been reading things about this sparking a Tim Drake, John Kent team up. Yay! It feels a little bit like put all your bisexuals in one story so that people who don't like them can ignore that and don't have to look at them. Just put all your gays on a shelf. But it could also be really good. Who knows? It's very random. Again, when like Connor exists and is Tim's best friend, and Damian exists and is currently going through hell and tried to kill his own dad and is John's best friend. But why do we need the supers to pay attention to their best friends when John can go hang out with Tim and try and find Bruce, and or they think Bruce is dead, so they do something else? I don't know, but I'm excited and also nervous. So there we go. I'm sorry. I cannot. I'm good. Okay. I see the comments. We'll take it back to the movies for the last stretch here. I just had to get that off my chest. I love the comics. I really do. But there's only so many times you can kill Bruce, and I'm excited because Bruce is my least favorite part of the Bat family. So whenever he leaves, it's like, all right, what's gonna happen now? Which is kind of exciting. Every time they remove Bruce from the comics, they move up characters or bring in new ones, and they bring Batman back, and there's less room for one or more characters. Yep. Absolutely. Which is why I'm always like, Bruce is dead. Let's see what they're gonna do. We can get some fun moments though. Because remember, one of the last times Bruce went away in 2009, we got that, my personal favorite. Ryan would laugh at me if he were here, but he loved it too. The Dick Grayson as Batman, Damian as his Robin run, which was so good. So good. If I had 5 minutes of Gunn's time and could recommend the first villain for each hero to face in their first new solo films in the new universe. You know what? I'm going to give I'm going to give an answer, and then I'm going to sign off, and then I'm going to be like, I should have said this instead, because I really do think almost any villain can be made to work. It's about how you write them. Because for Batman, my first instinct is honestly to say the Riddler, because Pattinson did it so well. Because I almost don't want to start with their big bads. Like, I want Lex Luthor to be acknowledged in the first Superman movie, but I don't want Lex to be the villain. And even if he's not physically there, even if you just see them when they're in the office mentioning, oh yeah, the new Luthor story, or you see like a billboard of Lex Luthor like in the background, like I kind of want that for the new Superman movie. Give me Toyman. Give me Toyman for Superman's first villain. I'm kind of digging that, actually. It could be ridiculous. I think they could figure out how to make that work. Or like you have this whole movie where it's, one villain. Then at the very end, you see Lex was pulling the strings the whole time. Like, but I don't want it to be Lex. For Batman, honestly, he really just has the best rogues gallery. You could make any of them work. I'm going to say no to Poison Ivy or Joker specifically. But, Riddler, I'm going to say no to Scarecrow as well. Because I don't want it to be that dark to start off with. Batman can go darker and darker all you need him to. You don't need to start there. So no to Scarecrow, no to Professor Pig for any movie ever. Y'all know how I feel about Professor Pig. But Mad Hatter would be a really fantastic one, actually, I think, for a first Batman movie as well. Okay. Like I said, I could go on without that rogues gallery. For Wonder Woman, that's also hard. Ooh, you know who I want it to be? I'm having a brain fart and the name is escaping me. So I am gonna look this on my phone. But big lady. Big lady, big muscles. Big Giganta? Was that who I want? Yeah. Give me like Giganta. Give me something like that. Give me just like a giant, buff, angry lady. That's what I want. Absolutely. Ooh, okay. I lost a lot of comments in there when I was lost in my train of thoughts. We're gonna address these comments. Big Bertha. That's who I think I wanted. Big Bertha. Big Bertha, Giganta. Honestly, either of them. Giant, angry, buff, big, angry, buff lady. That's what I want for Wonder Woman. That is, it's not a character. It's a vibe. It's an energy that I want for that movie for her big first villain. Multi-movie build up to Batman hunting Zaz could be very, very, very cool. A Harley Ivy heist. I would love for Harley and Ivy to just have a solo film of the two of them. I sincerely would. With like Catwoman present would be awesome. But like those, yes. Court of Owls. I would not introduce Batman with Court of Owls. I want to see Court of Owls on screen eventually, kind of like what I said with Lex before. Maybe you like have a Batman movie and there's like a Court of Owls teaser at the end. But I would not open the gates with Court of Owls, I don't think, if I, were in charge of everything and James Gunn's personal advisor on all things DC. Mr. Misha blah blah blah. I will never pronounce it. Again, I don't know if we could start with him. I feel like he would have to come in later when you need some silliness to break up all the darkness. But yes, love him. Him and Batmite, and I guess Nightmite exists now. That's a thing. Which I actually don't necessarily hate Nightmite. I hate some things that occurred while Nightmite was present. But I'm actually not ragging on the existence of Nightmite. I thought it was real cute. I kind of want a little Nightmite plushie that I can just like own and have. I like silliness in comics. Look what they did to Jason Red Hood during the Bat-Dick run, and Tim pretty much got pushed out of the picture. Yes. And those are my two least favorite Robins. Which is probably why I liked that run so much. No, but I totally agree that like it's hard getting a run where every character is done their justice. It really, really is. It has happened before. I'm struggling to come up with an example. But there have been runs that have done them better than others. I think that especially with where they are now, they do more successfully in their solo runs anyway. Like with Bat-Dick run, Tim was doing some weird stuff. Not even gonna lie, that was a bad era for Tim. But Jason Red Hood kind of got to do more. That kind of sparked a lot of good solo stuff for Jason moving forward, I feel like. Which again, if it's not, I just realized how Bat-Dick sounds when I say it out loud. And I hope we are all aware that I am talking about Dick Grayson Batman and not Bruce's little bat. Just putting it out there. But yeah, it's I miss Dick Grayson being part of the Titans. I like Red Hood having his own team, his Outlaws. I have some opinions about who should be on that team, but I like him doing his own thing. Tim Drake will someday get a new identity that isn't Robin or a fast food chain or his last name, and he's going to be great. And I really hope that comes for him eventually, and Damian can go back to being Robin because he should be the only one of those four boys that's still a child. Tim should be like 30 by now. He's 12. It's fine. Damian is going to age past Tim the way the comics are going. He is literally catching up to Tim in age, and that is not how aging works. Like, it's just not. They've already made everyone, like, they brought all the ages so close together because they refuse to let Bruce get old, or let Dick get old, which is frustrating. So now, but there's like so many Robins to squeeze into the timeline and so many events. So now it's like, oh yeah, Bruce was like 21 when he adopted like a 16-year-old Dick Grayson. They're basically just bros. And you're like, weird flex, but okay. So yeah, it's interesting kind of watching the comics, so kind of full circle. What's going to happen to the Bat fam now that Bruce has been removed yet again? We shall see. And I guess there's a DC cinematic universe that we have to see about as well. John Yukeba, your reaction to my villain Rex and explanations why. A lot of vigorous nodding until became incredibly enthusiastic headbanging. You are in. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. Whew. All right, you guys. What a night. We had so much to talk about. Ryan was not here for it. And I think we did all right. Thank you guys for being so engaging in the comments. I love having you here to chat with. So I wasn't talking to myself for an hour was awesome. And like, I've done it before and I'll do it again if I have to, but you guys definitely made it better. Thank you for indulging me at the end there and talking a little bit of comics with me. Because again, I love the cinematic universe. I do. Really wanted to talk about the comics because I also love those very, very much. And, eventually I'd like to find time to do a stream of the Gotham Knights game, which I think would be a huge blast. But yeah, all our little goodbyes. Good show. Was Ryan on his other 50 podcasts? Ryan was hiding in the Canadian wilderness because he got sick of me. And he said, where can I go where Lexi cannot get a hold of me? I am kidding, but he is in the Canadian wilderness. Good for him. Ryan, who is Ryan? This guy who helps out every once in a while. He's pretty nice. I'll introduce you sometime. Of course, Mustache Mayhem, thank you for being here. Lifelong toy collector, hello. Thank you. Thank you. We love the comics. You guys are wonderful. Please keep being awesome. Everyone out there in Gotham City, thank you for being fantastic. Yes, all the love for all the different medias. We are going to try and get a Gotham Knight stream game going. Maybe I'll even be able to play with Ryan. That would be mind-blowing. But until then, stay safe out there, Gotham. There's a lot going on. Thank you for being here. Have a fantastic evening. Bye.